Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Girivaradhari, Jai Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe, Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan. Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Para Paramhamsa Parivrikshārya Asvatastara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Para Paramhamsa Parivrikshārya Asvatastara Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai. Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhana ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we're reading from Canto 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 24, Text 35. Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantayantaka cha Durantakaya cha Durantayantakaya cha Namo Vishva Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantara Atmane Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantayantakaya cha Namo Vishva Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantar Atmane Sankarshanaya Shukshmaya Durantayantakaya Namo Vishva Pradohyaya Pradunyantaratmane. Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantayantakaya cha Namo Vishva Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaya Atmane Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantayantakaya Namo Vishva Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaratmane. So we'll do the word for word. Sankarnaya, unto this master of integration. Sukshmaya, unto the subtle unmanifested material ingredients. Durantaya, unto the unsurpassable. Antakaya, unto the master of disintegration. Cha, also. Namaha, obeisances. Vishwaprabhadaya, unto the master of development of the universe. Pradyumnaya, unto Lord Pradyumna. Anta Atmane, unto the super soul in everyone's heart. Translation. My dear Lord, you are the origin of the subtle material ingredients, the master of all integration, as well as the master of all disintegration, the predominating deity named Sankarshan, and the master of all intelligence, known as the predominating deity Pradyumna. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The whole universe is maintained by the integrating power of the Supreme Lord, who is known in that capacity by the name Sankarshan. The material scientists may have discovered the law of gravity, which maintains the integration of objects within the material energy, Yet, the master of all integration can create devastation by integrating the blazing fire emanating from his mouth. A description of this can be found in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, wherein the universal form of the Lord is described. The master of integration is also the destroyer of this world by virtue of his integrating energy. Sankarshan is a master of integration and disintegration, whereas Pradyumna, another feature of Lord Vasudeva, is responsible for universal growth and maintenance. The word Sukshmaya is significant because within this gross material body, there are subtle material bodies, namely mind, intelligence, and ego. The Lord is, in his different features, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Krishan, maintains both the gross and subtle material elements in this world. As mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, the gross material elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and the subtle material elements are the mind, intelligence, and ego. All of them are controlled by the personality of Godhead as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And this will be further explained in the following verse. So, we'll just say a few things on this verse, and whoever's doing tomorrow's verse will elaborate basically. So, you see there's lots of words here, integrating and disintegrating and all of this. So basically it actually means to mix, and we find that in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.1, there's a nice verse that explains, about all of these, the material universe and everything, right? So we'll just delve more into that now and see what Krishna has to say. So the verse goes as follows. Atra sarga visargascha stanam poshanam utaya manvantaram ashanakatha nirodha mukti ashraya. So this verse is basically explaining, is the crux of the whole Bhagavatam. This whole Bhagavatam is explained using these 10 subject matters, which are explained here. Firstly is the primary creation, right, of the Lord, and secondly is the secondary creation by Brahma, the planetary systems, the creative impetus, the Manus, then going back home, back to Godhead, liberation, and the Sanam Bonam, the taking shelter, Ashraya. So like this, these subjects are very vast in itself. Speaking on one topic, it could take like many hours or many days actually. But we'll just summarize each one very shortly because our time is limited, and we'll speak on each of these subjects little by little, and in this way we can try to finish these 10 subject matters. So the first one is the creation, primary creation by the Lord. And if you were here on Sunday, you would have seen Mataji Vaishnavi Priya, she actually elaborated on this, with slides and everything, how this material universe was created. And from Mahavishnu lying on the casual ocean, then from his paws, emanated many universes. And thereafter, his perspiration created the causal ocean like this, and he lied down in this causal ocean, and from the lotus, sprouted a stem, and on top of that stem, Brahma appeared. So then Brahma basically, he tries to figure out, where am I? Where did I come from? And he then tries to climb down the lotus, and when he tries to go down the lotus, and he's looking everywhere, it's dark, he cannot see anything, and to no avail, he goes back up, and then he hears the sound like tapa, 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 right? And then that's when he starts to meditate, to do austerities. And when he does his meditation, then the Lord from within his heart gives him the impetus to create. And then he realizes, yes, this is what I should do, and I should create. So we see now this is the primary creation of the Lord, right? By Mahavishnu. And then we see that the secondary creation is by Lord Brahma. Now Brahma, he creates in this way. In the first ingredient to enter into the universe is ahankara, or false ego. And when false ego, it mixes, we're talking about integration and disintegration here. When it mixes with certain elements, then it creates certain things, right? So it creates some subtle elements and gross elements. When it integrates with the mode of passion, at least ignorance, then it creates, the subtle elements, right? And what are these subtle elements? The subtle elements are described as, in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, as sound, sight, touch, taste, all these subtle elements, right? And smell. And then when it mixes with the mode of passion, then it creates the gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then it creates eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin, like this, right? So that we can basically perceive all these subtle elements through these gross elements, like that. And then when it mixes, or it integrates with the mode of goodness, then the 11 demigods are created. The 11 demigods are the demigods in charge of these elements, basically. Like you get for the wind or air, you get Vayu, Surya for the sun, right? And like this. So in this way, we have these different demigods that are created. These are listed there in the 11th canto. These 11 demigods that are basically in charge of these material elements. And then we go on to Sthanam. The next subject is Sthanam. So this Sarga is actually a very great, subject of knowledge. I'm just giving you the gist of it, but it's a very great subject matter of knowledge. So much so that, the material scientists are basically bewildered, and they're still trying to figure out, by their own endeavor, how the world was created, right? And they come up with so many philosophies, like the Big Bang Theory and this and that, and then Prabhupada says, how can, if something collides together, you cannot get a perfect universe, but you will get destruction, right? From any destruction, like the Big Bang, what banged and what created this material universe. So in this way, Prabhupada defeats the scientists to say that actually when anything collides together, it creates chaos and not perfection. But we see this material universes are so perfect in themselves, right? They are complete in themselves, like this verse in the Sri Upanishad, right? That says the Lord is all perfect and complete, and everything that emanates from Him is also perfect and complete in themselves. How the verse goes? From the Sri Upanishad? Om Purnam Adha Purnam Idham Purnat Purnam Adhachate Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vishishate. So basically, everything that emanates from the Lord is complete in itself, right? And you cannot get chaos we cannot get perfection from anything that collides together. So in this way, the scientists are baffling themselves and thinking. And Prabhupada, then he speaks also in the Sri Upanishad that because we have imperfect senses, we cannot actually ascertain this material world because we have incomplete senses, right? Our eyes are defective, our, nose are defective, all our senses are defective, that we have to wear glasses, at a certain stage. We have to, walk with a stick as we get older. We walk with a stick or a walker, like this. So our senses are basically defective. Right? And so we cannot actually ascertain higher spiritual knowledge or gain spiritual knowledge like this with our defective senses. But if we use the senses in the service of Krishna and accept the knowledge coming down in parampara, then we can actually gain perfect knowledge in this way. Because we have defective senses, then we actually, whatever philosophy we come up with is all defective, so it doesn't really make sense. So in this way, Prabhupada, in the book called Life Comes from Life, he defeats the scientists by using all these terminologies and analogies in basically defeating them. And then we see, when the Lord creates, he basically he creates and it stays for some time, and then it goes back into him, right? And this is the analogy that's given here is like a spider. A spider creates a web, right? With his own saliva, he creates this web, and then when it's time for he withdraws the web back into himself. So just like this, when the Lord creates, all these universes emanate from him, and when it's time for destruction, everything goes back into him. So this analogy can be very apt in this regard, right? And Prabhupada gives us. And then we go on to Poshanam. Poshanam means special favor, that Krishna gives his devotees special favor and protection. Poshanam. Poshanam means protection. And we find in the Bhagavad Gita, it has been explained, 929, this verse, that, I'll just read the Sanskrit. Samaham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshti na priyaha ya bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai teteshu chapyaham. Which actually means, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, isn't me, and I am also a friend to him. Shri Radharanath ki jai. So we'll just read this purport and see what Prabhupada is explaining here, right? One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this world may be very charitably disposed, yet He has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. So Krishna is actually giving everyone their quota, and he's giving everyone what they need. So, like the lion, the different animals in the forest, the elephant he tons of grass, and he's getting his quota. So he provides for everyone, right? So no one has to starve in this way. So he provides everything for everyone. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son, and he provides everyone with a generous supply of all necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on the rock or land or on water. So when the rain falls, it falls, on the sea. The sea doesn't need water, but it falls on the sea. It falls on the rock. It falls on land, for vegetation like that. So it falls everywhere, right? But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendently situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists, situated in him. So basically, devotees who are conscious of Krishna all the time are living with Krishna all the time, because they are transcendental to this material world, and they are not subjected to the material energy. So here, let me just continue reading. They are in me naturally. As a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the word yayatamam prapajante tam stadaiva bhajamyaham. Whoever surrenders unto me, proportionately I take care of him. So whoever and however one may surrender to the Lord, he will reciprocate with them in that way. So, but for devotees, so people, they pray to the Lord for different amenities they may need, and he reciprocates with them. But devotees are on a higher level because they don't want anything from the Lord. They just want to serve the Lord with love and devotion. So, I'm not going to go through this whole purport, but I just wanted to make the point that how the Lord is dear to the devotees, and the devotees are dear to the Lord in this way because he takes special interest in them. Just as Prabhupada mentions here, a man may be charitably disposed, but he takes care of his own first. He may give charity to the beggars or to people who are in need, but still he for his own children he will give them more facilities like this. So similarly, if one becomes dear to Krishna, then you get more facilities to live happily in this world and to attain the supreme destination at the end of life. So so the next point we go on to is utaya, or the inclination to act. We all have the impetus to act, like the scientists want to create, and the now many people are into engineering, right? And when you're into engineering, you're always building things and trying to create things like this. So in this way, people have this impetus to create, right? Even the animals, they build their homes. Like you see the bird, for example. The bird, it builds a nest, right? And how intricate this nest is. If I tell you to go and make a nest right now, will you be able to do it? Impossible, right? But we see this impetus is there in the bird to create something, right? And it's so intricate. The weaving process of this bird is so intricate. Well, you may say, we can weave things together, right? I myself can knit and crochet, things and put them together like this. So where have we actually got this idea from? From the birds, right? Because it has beaks, 2 beaks, and we find that the needles, the needles that we use, the knitting needle and the crocheting needle, are like beaks, right? And we use that to weave. So similarly, the birds, they have the 2 beaks, and with this beak, they actually weave. And the intelligence is actually given by Krishna, how to do, right? Everything is given by Krishna. So even when we create something or we do something very nice, we should not take the credit for it, because the intelligence is coming from the Supreme Lord. It's coming from Krishna. So sometimes we become very proud of our ability to do something. But Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that I'm the ability in man. So we are not doing anything. We are just using our intelligence, which is given by Krishna, our hands that are given by Krishna, and all, our faculties basically are given by Krishna, and we're using this to manipulate the material energy and create something nice, right? But it's actually, everything is done by Krishna, right? So we are just an instrument in the Lord's service, like this. So this is Uttaya, right? The inclination to act or create, like this. And then we go on to Manvantaram. There are so many Manus, like we are living in this 28th Manu. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya appears in this 28th Manu, right? And we have the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya, where the degraded persons, the most fallen people of this Kali Yuga, can make rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead, and actually derive the highest benefit and be situated on the highest platform. And it's all because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other ages, people used meditation and deity worship and all of these other processes for attaining the spiritual kingdom, right? But they may go to Vaikuntha, right? Because they worship. When you meditate, you meditate on the super soul within the heart, and eventually you actually you see the super soul, right? And in this way, you can go to Vaikuntha. So there's many examples in the Shastras. Also, where people meditated on Vishnu, and they attained the Vaikuntha planets, which is the spiritual world, obviously. But in Krishna consciousness, we attain that planet which is above Vaikuntha also, right? That planet which is Krishna's planet, his own planet, right? And so that's where we're going to go. So as I was saying, these different devotees who practice being Krishna consciousness but use other processes of attaining the spiritual world will attain to Vaikuntha. Very rarely will they go to Goloka Vrindavan, but because we have this special prerogative, I would say, that Lord Chaitanya's mercy, that we can actually go to Goloka Vrindavan, because Lord Chaitanya is very merciful, and just by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, just by chanting the holy names, we are given entry into the topmost planet of the spiritual world. So how merciful is Lord Chaitanya, right? So in this way, we can take full advantage of this process, right? Ishanukata, the signs of God, God realization. And we're hearing now of the Lord's impetus to create and how all these universes are coming out of his body. And, imagine how great he is, right? If he's lying in the casual ocean and from his skin hole, all the universes are emanating, how great is Krishna, right? Or the Supreme Lord, right? So now, but he comes down, and when he comes down to this material world, he plays like an ordinary child in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. So can we understand this? It's like so intricate to understand this. He comes and acts like an ordinary person, and his devotees, he becomes submissive to his devotees. In this way, it's bewildering. And many people cannot understand this. Like, when you tell them Krishna is God, he's the supreme personality of Godhead, he's, and then they say, no, it cannot be. And I also had this confusion, because I was also trying in my early days to, teenage life, to trying to search who God is. And, I came across many books and stuff like that. And my conclusion was, Vishnu is God, because he has 4 hands, right? And he can do many things like that. And my sister, she would say that Krishna is God, and I would say, no, Krishna is just a baby, he's a child. So there is this confusion, Krishna is a child, and then we would argue like this, as children we would argue like this, that I would say Vishnu is God, and she would say no, Krishna is God. So in this way, even amongst adults and amongst people who are trying to and who are aspiring to be transcendentalists, they also have this confusion. Until and unless we came to Krishna consciousness, then we understood who the Supreme Lord is. Krishna is the source of God. He's the source of Vishnu, right? And so in this way, we can understand. And when it comes down to this material world, his pastimes are so bewildering, right? That, how can he be God? He basically dances with so many women. He's like this, he steals, he's, on all these things. But they do not know the intricate nature of, basically, as it is said here, the signs of God. Right? And how he's actually captured by love of his devotees. And when he's captured by the love of his devotees, then he becomes subordinate to his devotees. Right? And I was remembering Brihat Maharaj was giving this class, and he was actually saying, how can Krishna be the supreme personality of Godhead, the topmost, how can he be God? And so this was the question, and he was explaining that actually Krishna is the source of God, and because from him comes Balaram, and from Balaram comes the quadruple expansions, and then there's a second quadruple expansion, and there's, from the Sankarshan, of the second quadruple expansion come Narayan, and all of these things. So he was explaining all of this, and then we could actually understand, yes, that Krishna is the source of Narayan, he's the source of God. Like this. So, so my childish mentality was actually awakened, and it was, how would I say? It was, I got a higher intelligence by listening to these classes and by listening to Srila Prabhupada and, the devotees of Krishna, to gain higher intelligence, like how Krishna is the source of everything. And in this material world and in the spiritual world. And he becomes subordinate to his devotees, by pure love, like this. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakti prayachati. Right? Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, or little water, I will accept it. So Krishna he doesn't want anything from us. He just wants our love and devotion. That's what he wants. That's what Krishna is hankering for, right? We are hankering for so many material things, but Krishna is just hankering for our hearts, for our love and devotion. So this is the way we can understand the Supreme Lord, right? He's so lovable, and he's a lovable object, of our hearts like this. So in this way, we should reciprocate with Krishna, and in offering, if we don't have anything to offer to Krishna, offer our rounds, our chanting of Hare Krishna, Mahamantra to Krishna at Krishna's lotus feet. And in this way, he'll reciprocate with us, right? So, and Prabhupada said that even the most poorest of the poor can offer their love to Krishna, offer something to Krishna. Like Sudama, he was so poor, he was such a poor brahmana that he couldn't offer anything. He didn't have anything to eat. But when he went to see Krishna, he took a little gift for Krishna. And what was that? He begged rice from his neighbor to take for Krishna. Like that. And Krishna, he was so overwhelmed with this love of this gift, And Sudama was so embarrassed, how can I give this? When he saw Krishna's opulence and his royal palaces and, and all of that, and he says, this is such a meager offering, I'd rather not give it to Krishna. But Krishna went and he stole this out of Sudama's, cloth. He went and stole this rice, and he relished every rice, every grain with so much of happiness. He basically relished this grains that Sudama had brought. So this is what Krishna wants. He wants our love and our devotion. So Prabhupada said, even the poorest of the poor can offer Krishna something. If he cannot, then he goes and begs for something, and he offers it to Krishna like this. So in this way, Krishna will become very happy and very pleased with us. And when Krishna becomes pleased with the devotee, what happens? Anyone? When Krishna becomes pleased with you, then everything, he bestows upon you everything, like he bestowed upon Sudama, everything that he needed. Right? When Sudama went back home, then what did he see? He saw this great mansion that was there, and he couldn't recognize his wife and children because they were so opulently dressed, right? So Krishna bestows, this is material things, right? He bestows upon us everything material and spiritual for us to make progress and go back home. And how does he bestow upon us anything spiritual? Because he's in the heart, and together within the heart is the soul and the super soul, and what he does, it cleanses the heart. And when the devotee goes through this cleansing process, right, when all the anarthas are coming out of his heart, then he goes through many turbulences in his life, right? Through so much of adversities, and he thinks like, oh my God, what is this? I didn't ask for this. I joined the Hare Krishna movement. They said, chant and be happy. But here I'm getting all these problems that's coming to me, So these adversities or these problems, these issues that we have, is actually Krishna cleansing our hearts, so that we can become eligible to enter into the spiritual domain. Otherwise, we cannot. We cannot go into the spiritual world with a dirty heart, right? So all of us, our hearts are very dirty at this point, right? And we have to clean the heart of lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. All these things are there. We need to cleanse the heart of this. So only when it becomes cleansed, cheto dharpana marjanam, right? By this chanting process is cleansing the heart. And we accept Krishna's name, which is so pure that, just by once reciting Krishna's name, then the heart becomes cleansed like this, or we're in the cleansing process, right? So then we actually, the heart becomes cleansed, then we become eligible to enter into the spiritual world, like that. So, the next one I was going to talk about is Nirodha, or we'll say that it is, Prabhupada in the text, he says going back home, back to Godhead. And many other philosophers or, acharyas, they would say Nirodha is actually annihilation of this material universe. And obviously when this material universe is round up, then it all goes back into the body of Mahavishnu. But on a devotee platform, when we, all this ahankara or all this false ego is disintegrated, as the purport says, right? Then we can actually go to the spiritual kingdom. So Prabhupada translates this in the Bhagavatam as going back home, right? And then there's liberation, right? And who is the giver of liberation? Mukunda. Mukunda actually means liberation. The person who gives liberation is Mukunda. And who is that? Krishna. Another name for Krishna is called Mukunda, right? So, so in this, when one takes shelter of Krishna, then actually, you know what the scriptures say, that as soon as one starts chanting Hare Krishna, he's situated on the liberated platform. He's already on the liberated platform. Right? And yet, we have so many yogis who are trying to gain liberation, right? By the yogic processes, they are trying to gain liberation. But we, as devotees, just situated on the platform of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we're already on the liberated platform. Why is that? Because Krishna's name is transcendental. It's beyond this material world. It's already on the liberated platform, right? It's so pure. So when we chant Krishna's name, because of the purity of his name, then we automatically we are situated on the transcendental level, even beyond liberation, I would say. Because when one is situated on the transcendental level, then he is beyond liberation, right? Because he is associating with the all pure, with the transcendental Lord, Krishna, right? So you may say, well, I don't think I'm liberated. I don't think I have so many bad qualities within me, right? And we can all attest to this, that we have so many bad qualities within us. And we are trying for perfection by following the process that Srila Prabhupada has given us. But it takes time. It takes time, right? Nothing, Rome wasn't built in one day. It took many years. So like this, on the spiritual path as well, we just need to stick to the process. And, in time, we'll actually reach our goal. But, so we may feel like this, that, we are not on the liberated platform, but actually we are, right? So this is what Prabhupada and the Acharyas are saying. Like once somebody asked Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there in ISKCON, in your movement? And Prabhupada, he turned to one of the devotees and he said, so how many devotees are there in ISKCON? And the disciple said about 5,000. Then he told the reporter, yes, we have 5,000 pure devotees. Right? So we may think that, we are not pure, but we are in the process of getting pure. We're in the process of getting pure in that, because the cleansing process is chanting the holy names. And when we cleanse our hearts, then we are situated on the level of purity, basically. So in this way, Prabhupada, he mentioned that, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? 5,000? We have 5,000 pure devotees, because we're in the process of becoming pure. Okay? So, and the next one is ashraya, or shelter. So, in the Hare Krishna movement, we can take shelter of the holy names, who is non-different from Krishna. We can take shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? But when we go back home, back to Godhead, then we are under the shelter and protection of Krishna, and even now in this material world. But then we attain to our Swarup. Our Swarup means our eternal position in the spiritual world. So at this moment, we do not know what our eternal position is with Krishna in the spiritual world. And in the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, it is being said that we have 5 types of different relationships with Krishna. One has a friend, has a lover, has a parent, in a passive state and a neutral state. So we have these different relationships with Krishna. And, we could be a friend to Krishna, like the cowherd boys, right? We could be a lover of Krishna, like the gopis. We could be a parent to Krishna, like Mother Yashoda and Devaki. So, these relationships are there. So all of us, we have this relationship with Krishna. It's just that we do not know what this relationship is. By the process of chanting Hare Krishna, then we, in time, we'll come to know what this relationship is with the Lord. But it takes many, many years, many, many lifetimes even. We cannot know what our relationship with the Lord is. In other sampradayas or other sorts of transcendentalists, they imitate, they think that they are like this and they are like that with the Lord, and they imitate, and this is not recommended by Srila Prabhupada to actually dive into all of these subjects. But in time, Prabhupada said, when our hearts are cleansed of all the garbage that's there, then we'll be able to understand, who am I in the spiritual world? At the moment, we do not know. So, I have 2 minutes left. If anyone would like to contribute to this class, you're most welcome to. Thanks so much. My mouth is dry. Okay, if no one has anything to say, then we'll close up. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. This marker here.